Okay, good morning everyone. So before we start, let's stand for our prayer. Okay, may Joy kindly lead the prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So good morning everyone. How's your morning? Okay, that's good. So before we start, we have a classroom rules. So first is raise your hand if you want to speak. So always remember that if you want to speak, just raise your hand or just you want to answer. And the second one is use kind words and actions. And the third one is look and listen attentively. And the fourth one is ensure your work is completed on time. So be mindful in time. And the last one is stay safe and follow direction. Of course, you need to follow directions para dili mo mali. So our new topic for today is all about lesson 11, which is Alexander the Great Part 1. Okay, and this is our lesson outcomes or our lesson objectives. So at the end of the lesson, the students are able to, letter A, understand Alexander's impact on Greek civilization. And the second one is appreciate his leadership and cultural influence. And the last one is pantomime a scene from the story. So students, kindly take a look on the pictures that I paste in the board. So in the picture one, what did you observe? Bea, okay, there is a two-person which is like his son and the father, and also there is a map. And then the second one is Mayjoy, what did you observe in the picture 2? Okay, there is two-person who's fighting. What about the picture 3, Regine? Okay, there is a two-person who's talking.
Okay, what have you observed in the picture number 4? Yes, there is a boy who observed the boy who was riding a horse. Okay, very good. Give yourself the 3 claps. How about here, Louina? What do you have observed in the picture? Okay, yes, the boy who observed here is now riding a horse. Yes, give 3 claps to Louina. Okay, what have you observed in the picture? Okay, Isa, very good. So there are many army that is riding. And how about in the last picture? Okay, Alvin? Okay, very good. So there are many army and has a king. And now, we are done to observe the pictures that we paste on the board. So right now, we will have an activity that we call KWL chart. So the K stands for what I know, the W stands for what I want to know, and L is what I learned. So I will give you the 5 minutes to list your prior knowledge about the Alexander the Great Part 1. And now we will check your prior knowledge. So first is Alexander was a famous military leader. The second one, Alexander never lost a battle. Third is Alexander was a student of Aristotle. Fourth, Alexander conquered many lands. And fifth, the last one is Alexander died at young age. And now let's find out what you want to know about the story of Alexander the Great Part 1. First, what are conflicts? Why was King Philip not involved in the Greek conflicts? The second one, what was King Philip's plan? Do you think it will work? And the third one, does the sentence give you a hint of what is going to happen? Fourth, why do you think Alexander practiced so much? Do you think he believed? And the last one, the fifth is, if you are ambitious, you have a steady desire for success, what do you think ambitious King Alexander is going to do?
And now, are you excited to listen the story about Alexander the Great? Okay, so let's follow our protocol. So first is we need to listen and stay focused. So to the north of the Greek city-states and Mount Olympus lay the territory known as Macedonia. So the Macedonian King Philip II
watched and waited as the Greek city-states struggled among themselves for power and wealth after the Persian Wars. So it seems that they could work together brilliantly when they faced a common enemy such as Persia. But afterward, they would go back to competing against one another. Away from all these conflicts, King Philip grew stronger. So what are the conflicts? So what does King Philip notice about the Greek city-states? So they work together when they face a common enemy, but then they go back to competing against one another. So King Philip of Macedonia, he had a plan. He would let the rest of the Greeks wear themselves at fighting one another, and then he would lead his army south to unite Greece under his command. So, what was King Philip's plan? So, to let the Greeks wear themselves by fighting with each other. So, do you think it will work? So, Philip also had a son whom he expected to follow in his steps and take over the throne one day. The boy was a bold, handsome, curly-haired youngster named Alexander. So at first, Philip was a bit disappointed when it became clear that Alexander would not grow up to be tall, stripping, or powerful, feel like his father. Philip wondered how can someone Alexander's size become a great warrior and commander like me. His son realized that he had nothing to worry about. So, what hint does the sentence give of what is going to happen? So, Alexander will become a great warrior and commander like his father. Okay, very good.
Alexander was determined to be the best at everything he did. He constantly practiced with sword and spear, hour after hour. Even full-grown soldiers told one another, "Keep your guard up when you practice against Prince Alexander, or you will find his sword point at your throat." Alexander trained himself to swim in icy rivers and run for miles without stopping. He became an excellent wrestler and a champion horseman, and was constantly challenging other ranks. Do you think all of Alexander's practice helped him succeed? But Alexander was more than strong and sturdy. He was intelligent too. Realizing this, Philip told his son, "I have arranged to have the greatest thinker in the world come here to teach you. He is the famous Aristotle. Treat him with respect." Who was Aristotle? Yes, Aristotle is the famous philosopher. So why do you think King Philip wanted his son to study with him?
Alexander came to love and honor the wise Aristotle and tried to learn all that he could from him, pleased with his student. Aristotle taught the prince more than science and mathematics. He also tried to pass along all that the Greeks, especially the Athenians, had learned about leading a civilized and well-balanced life. Was living a well-balanced life important to Aristotle? Yes, Alexander loved to study the poems of Pindar. Alexander listened when Aristotle taught him in the importance of observing and studying facts before making decisions. However, the prince's energetic nature caused him to use this lesson in ways far different from those that he quiet scientists and imagined. One famous example occurred when Alexander was in his early teens and set his eyes on a magnificent horse named Cephalus. If the horse was magnificent, was it ordinary or grand? Alexander told his father's groomsman, "That is the horse I want to ride." The head groomsman bowed. "I am sorry, Your Highness, I cannot let you. For your own safety, no one can ride Cephalus. One of our horseman tried yesterday, and even he broke his leg. So based on what you know about Alexander, do you think he will ride this magnificent horse? So Alexander realized he would have to use his mind as well as his muscle to tame the horse. So tame means train and make gentle. I must think this true. He told himself. He watched as one rider after another lead the huge horse out to the wooden bench and tried to mount the saddle. Alexander noticed something no one else had seen. The prince realized why the big fella is frightening each time he sees own shadows moving before him on the ground. He becomes so nervous that he throws off anyone who tries to ride him.
Alexander took some sugar out to the horse. "Here, boy, eat this," he said, and he turned Bucephalus around in the other direction so that he was facing the sun and could not see his own shadow. Then Alexander easily climbed into the saddle. Everyone was amazed. Alexander rode the huge horse all afternoon. Even King Philip came out to watch, grinning at his son. "He's not so bad," called Alexander, grinning back. Finally, Bucephalus trusted Alexander so much that the boy could lead him to the everything, even his shadow in front of him. Bucephalus became Alexander's horse, and Alexander so loved the horse that later he named a city after him. Now, question. How did Alexander tame the horse that no one else could tame? Did he use his strength or did he use his intelligence? Hey, Bea, what's your answer? Let's stand up. Okay, very good. Alexander tamed the horse Bucephalus by using his intelligence, not his strength.
Soon, Alexander was leading troops into battle for his father. He developed a habit that stayed with him all his life. He always rode in the front line of fighters. The soldiers were proud of their brave prince and loved him for taking rest as great as those he asked them to take. A number of times, when a battle might have been lost, Alexander would yell, "Charge!" and ride ahead. The devoted or loyal and committed soldier would think, "We cannot let him be killed or captured." They had no choice but to follow him and win the battle, for they knew Alexander would never retreat. Why do you think Alexander would never retreat? Yes, very good. At last, King Philip felt that he and his son were ready to conquer the Greeks who were south of Macedonia. Then, by a stroke of good luck, they found a better way. They overthrew our enemy Persia, once again come after the Greek cities. Philip told the other leaders of Greece, "I will lead you against Persia." A few protested, but Philip and Alexander quickly invaded their cities and conquered them by force. People in the other city-states, weakened by war, were afraid to go up against the powerful Macedonian army. So, did the King Philip get what he wanted? Yes, very good.
And then, King Philip died at the age of 20. Alexander became king of Macedonia. Although young in years, Alexander led his army through Greece, fighting and conquering when he needed to and accepting surrender when he could. He generously gave gifts to the peoples in cities that welcomed him, while giving no mercy to those who opposed or went against him. At last, all of Greece held Alexander as their king, but grace was not enough for the ambitious king. If you are ambitious, you have a strong desire for success. Do you think ambitions King Alexander is going to do? He put one of his trusted and advisors into change of grace and announced, "It is time to end Persian treat once and for all and to call Persia my own." With that, Alexander set out on his greatest adventure. Now that Alexander has conquered the Greek city, states who does he want to conquer next?
Now, question. Were your prediction about Alexander the Great correct? Who can answer? Major, just stand up. Okay, great. Let's give a 3 claps of Major. 1. Now, the second question. Alexander was not a large man like his father, but he still became a successful fighter. How did he do this? Okay, Regine, just stand up. What's your answer? Okay, very good. Give a very good clap of Regine. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good, very good. Now, the third one. What is important lesson did Alexander learn from Aristotle? Now, Janice. Okay, just stand up. Okay, Janice, very good. Give a very good clap to Janice. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good, very good.
So, question number 4. What observation did Alexander make about the wild horse Bucephalus? Anyone? Major. Very good. Give Jollibee clap for Major. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Bida, ang saya. So, question number 5. What did Alexander's father ask Aristotle to teach his son? Anyone? Regine. Okay, very good. Give Regine a Jollibee clap. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Bida, ang saya. So, 6th question. Why did Alexander devoted soldiers think he was a great fighter? Anyone? Janice. Okay, very good. Give Janice a Jollibee clap.
So now, this is the 7th question. How were Alexander's actions an example of saying, "Practice what you preach"? Okay, anyone to answer? Okay, Janice? Okay, very good. Give good job clap to Janice. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good job, good job, good job.
Okay, question number 7. How were Alexander's action an example of the saying, practice what you preach? Yes, Isa? Okay, very good. Give Isa a very good clap. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good, very good. So now, the number 8 question. What are some adjectives you could use to describe Alexander? Yes, Janice? Very good. So now give Janice a good job clap. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good job, good job, good job. So, how about the last number, the number 9? Why do you think Alexander wasn't still? Was and still is known as Alexander the Great? Yes, Alvi? Okay, very good. Give Alvi a mosquito clap. A mosquito, two mosquito, maybe mosquito.
This time, word. And we choose the word team. In the read aloud, you heard Alexander realize he would have to use his mind as well as his muscles to tame the horse. Say the team with me. Team!
Team.
Okay, louder!
Team!
Okay, team means to train to obey people. Some animals are impossible to tame and should remain in nature. Have you ever seen someone tame an animal or ever tried to tame one yourself? Okay, try to use the word team. Can you tell about that? Okay, please, Corazon, any idea? Yes, very good. I saw someone tame a dog. Okay, excellent. Okay, what's the word we've been talking about? Okay, Isa? Yes, excellent. Okay, see the word again. Team.
Same.
Louder.
Same.
Okay, very good.
And now let's proceed to our last activity, the Venn diagram. So, in the Venn diagram, you need to compare and contrast the standard personal traits and his quest. And after that, you will answer the following questions. So, first is, what traits made Alexander a great leader? And second is, what achievements marked his early conquest? And how did his education help him succeed? And that is, what qualities and action overlap between his traits and achievements. So, do you have any questions and clarification? If none, you can answer that in your paper. Okay, class, finish or not finish? Please pass your paper. Okay, thank you, class. So now, please stand. Okay, thank you for listening and participating. Goodbye, class.